From the Philippines to the world, we are on Facebook Live on Eagle News and Net25 TV and also on our streaming site eaglenewslive.com. Watch us on our YouTube channel at Net25 TV. I am Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Join me to discover the latest news and information and business around the world. Stay ahead of the curve from vision to action. The retail industry in the Philippines is undergoing a major transformation. What are the innovations that are happening now in shopping malls, department stores, and retail establishments that impact on MSMEs and consumers? Who are the gainers and losers in the retail industry during the pandemic? What are the best practices in retail to survive the COVID-19 crisis? One of the most powerful women in the retail sector, Ms. Rosemary Bosch, Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer of Wilcon Depot, will join us in this week's episode of Open for Business.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Mga kaibigan, mga kapatid, mga kababayan, magsama-sama po tayong panoorin ang Daigdig Ko'y Ikaw.
Special episode po sa Sabado, alas 8 ng gabi, dito sa Net25!
Open for Business is back, and with me is Ms. Rosemary Bosch, Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Operations Officer of Wilcon Depot. Ms. Rose, there is a grant Thornton International article. It said that retail has been in a major slump for the past 2 years. The pandemic only accelerated its restructuring. Some big-name department stores around the globe filed for bankruptcy. The same was seen among small retailers. In what's happening now, Paul, what so far is your outlook of the Philippine retail industry post-pandemic?
Well, I'd like to dispute what you said, although it's a reality that prior to the pandemic, pre-COVID, we experienced, especially in first world countries, we experienced really a slump, as you mentioned, or a dip in retail. But I still believe that retail will still be strong despite the things that are happening around us, despite all these uncertainties. It's just that retail is going through a transformation. So I'm sure you know that in any crisis, there's always winners and losers. In fact, we always say that if there's a crisis, there's always opportunity for it, Just have to, search for that opportunity. Just like in retail, what we're seeing here is a K recovery. So depending on which sector you are, whether you are in the resilient sector or the non-resilient sector, we know that during this pandemic, the essentials really did well, although of course we're still affected with the macro. The spending power has gone down because many people were affected. You know, a lot of our kababayans, they lose jobs or they were displaced, or rather, in terms of number of work hours, no, some were cut because of the, because of what happened, the limitation, no. So our prospect for retail for 2021 will still remain, and I would say it will remain soft for as long as COVID-19 is still present. And of course, for as long as it's limiting the free movement of the general public, no, we have to build that confidence. But I still believe that the economy will really depend on retail, on consumption, because we are dependent on consumption. Our economy is really, I would say, a consumption-driven economy. Simply because we were locked down for 2 months, and I'm sure you would agree with me that the Philippines has the longest lockdown, I would say, among all, but because we're consumption, we were forced to close some of our business. That's why it really affected us, no? But of course, we're seeing, the light at the end of the tunnel now with all these vaccines. We're talking about the vaccine that's coming, and which will be soon widely available for the majority of our population, especially, the health frontliners and the essential workers, no? So once this is rolled out, I would say retail would pick up in the phase and finally puts its trust in the way to full recovery, no? I would say that with retail opening up, it will pump up the economy, and it will help, it will help everyone increase, I would say, jobs. No, it will provide more jobs, no, especially for those who were affected, and especially in operations. No, I'm sure you all know that retailers, I would say, are the frontliners of our economy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So for as long as retail will continue to adapt, will continue to be innovative, no? As I've said, retail is going through a transformation. We are limited in our movement, so we see the rise and the acceleration of the digital platform. Digitization or the e-commerce platform, I would say.
Yeah. Miss Rose, you mentioned earlier about the winners and losers. So maybe let's start first with the losers. Miss Rose, I know that a lot of the shops have closed. A lot of those who are not engaged in digital transformation, found it difficult initially. So maybe let's talk about the winners, the losers first during the pandemic. Can you cite, some industries that are winners and losers because of the pandemic?
Like what I've said, no, there are gainers and losers, no. I'm sure you know that during the lockdown, the essentials really, these are the I would say the gainers in this crisis, no. Especially the essentials. We're talking of food. We're talking of medicines, and people are now more focused on wellness and essentials, no? And I would say that the non-resilient sectors would be clothing, apparel. Based on the PSA report, based on the Philippine Statistics Authority report, household expenditures were down, but there are some gainers such as like food, as I've mentioned, food. So we are always driven by demand, when you talk of retail, no? So to be a retail winner in this era, one must be able to strategize and adapt accordingly, no? Or rather, when we reopened in May 16, we did not expect a ramp-up demand for home essentials, for home improvement items, especially the soft lines, no, the soft categories. And at Wilcon, we are quite strong with the hard lines, no, because this is our core. But when we reopened, people were locked down in their homes for almost 2 months, and they were, they were really focused on wanting to improve and renovate their homes because everything is centered in the homes now. Like for example, cooking, yes. And then, like we have this work from home arrangement, and then study at home or distant learning, no? So those that have, budget for, let's say, traveling, for leisure, and for eating out, no? So they've diverted their spending into, they've reallocated their spending into improving their homes, no? So I would say these are the gainers in this crisis, no? So what we're expecting here is that with less physical mobility, retailers need to constantly connect with the customers, whether in whatever platform you are, no, because we can always find creative ways. I remember during the lockdown, some retailers who were forced to close their business were able to connect to their customers through Viber community, through social media platform. And as I've mentioned, the home became the center of everything, and the community became the center of everything, no? So now you would see a surge in demand for, let's say, items that you can be bought from your neighborhood store or from the sari-sari store or convenience stores near your community.
Mm-hmm. But Miss Rose, how did you transform into digital? I know that especially with other companies and with smaller companies, they don't have those departments who are really engaged in their digital marketing. Some of the MSMEs do it themselves. But in your case, Ms. Rose, is there really a platform where digital transformation is part of the business model or part of the business plan that you have established? And we don't know that this will happen, but because of that initiative, yun pala talaga ang kailangan. People, especially businesses and retailers like you, should have embraced digital transformation years back.
Well, actually, digital transformation, I would say, is the inevitable development in any industry, not only in retail. It's already part of the current lifestyle we have. Prior to COVID, we were already approaching the fourth industrial revolution. I'm sure we've been talking about it. And I would say Wilcon is in the crossroad, So prior to COVID, I'm sure not all of us are prepared for this kind of crisis. No one is prepared. I guess preparation does not happen just now. It's a sum of what you did, of all the efforts you did in the past. That's why you have very good fundamentals, I would say. So prior to COVID, we were already engaging, with different providers, no, e-commerce providers. Although we have our e-commerce platform, but it's not something that we are relying on because we're still quite strong. We feel that we're still quite strong in the brick and mortar space, no? Given the different products that we have, people, when they build a house, they have to make sure of the items that they're buying. They have to have that sense of feel and touch, like, for example, if you're buying tiles, you want to see the real color. And then when you're buying, different items that you put in your house, you want to make sure that it's something that's of quality, that is sturdy. That's why you have to validate and check it physically, So we still believe at that time that brick and mortar is still the way for us, But however, we've accelerated our digital transformation prior to COVID because when we were locked down, we were already, very much engaged in doing scoping and revamping and renovating our digital platform. So we're kind of upgrading it now, So our strategy really is omnichannel strategy, wherein we want to be in different platforms, We want to be in many, many platforms. Like what I've said, this is really inevitable for everyone to be in every platform, whether it's social media, whether it's, e-commerce or brick and mortar, for as long as you are connected with your customers. So retailers really, just like Wilcon, should look at technology and innovation as an investment and as a tool to help them efficiently run their business. Can you imagine we were locked down for 2 months and yet we were able to serve some of our customers despite the limitations, despite the restrictions, the mobility restrictions and all this, no? Because we came up with a creative approach of having that browse, call, and collect feature that we offer our customers, wherein in the comfort of wherever they are in their homes, they can just browse our website or our e-commerce platform and then look at the product and then call us or text us through Viber, because we have a Viber platform also, or through Viber community. And then since we cannot deliver because of the restrictions, they can pick it up. So they can make arrangement to do these things, no? And then when we reopen, we continue with that browse, call, collect, and then deliver. There's an option for them for us to have it delivered, no? So ways like, how to connect to your customers, because we all know that, with less free movement now, and some of our customers really are afraid to go out because of that, the emergence of this health emergence, no? I mean, so we have to, have that confidence to go out, no? So some of them would coordinate with us first. That's why we offered also the Facebook Live virtual tour, wherein they can have a tour of Wilcon and see their products and the different, aisles and different vignettes that we offer, so that, prior to making a decision on what to buy at Wilcon, they already have an idea. And there'll be less, time for them to spend in the stores because of the limitations. No? So we're exploring technology that will help our business, that will help us run the business efficiently, and to make it more sustainable and agile, so that we can adapt easily with the needs of our customers. No? Because we all know that during this pandemic, everything was disrupted. Supply was disrupted because of, the supply chain was disrupted because of the limitation and movement, and even the demand was disrupted also because, as I've mentioned earlier, there are gainers and winners in this crisis. So the non-essential category, like for example, shoes, apparel, jewelry, and other accessories, has really declined in terms of sales, no? But surprisingly, food, of course, and other non-alcoholic beverages increase as more people stay home to eat and drink and snack, no? Since most of our kids are at home, so it's our way of treating our kids, no? Giving them snacks, giving them beverages and all this. And of course, people now are more focused on health and wellness, so that they focus on buying more of home care products such as laundry products, because every time we go out, of course, we want to keep ourselves clean, and even the clothes, that's why people buy more of these products, no, especially personal care products and all this, and even electronic gadgets. I would say it also increased because of this study at home or distance learning arrangement.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ms. Rose, you mentioned about this omnichannel approach. This is something that businesses should look at. And I remember you saying, from brick and mortar to acceleration of digital transformation. Ang tanong ko, Ms. Rose, now is, because I heard you speak also at Aguila Pilipinas of Net25. You said that you're one of the few organizations who still push through with the opening of your branches. So speaking of omni-channel approaches, kayo ba, Ms. Rose, in your as part of your best practice, would you somehow be more calculated or calibrated in the opening of new branches, and instead focus your resources to digital? What is your approach po on opening new branches or retail establishments?
Actually, during lockdown, during last year's pandemic, we still opened 6 stores. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
We opened 2 stores prior to the lockdown. And then right after, when we reopened, when we resumed in May 16, we opened 4 more stores. So total of 6 stores. We're supposed to open 8 stores last year. However, because we were, construction was stopped for a while, it halted for a while. So it was pushed back. The 2 stores were pushed back. And we immediately opened it in January when, just this year, January, we opened 2 stores, and we have 8 more stores, or I would say 7 more stores coming up within the year, no? So our midterm, long-term target in the next 5 years is to reach 100 stores, no?
Wow.
So I'm
but,
sure,
but with that, in that case, I'm sorry to because I'm overwhelmed, with this information that you are telling me. So it's like you being very, very aggressive and driving this pandemic rather than the pandemic driving you. What's the secret to this? What's the insight of you still aggressively pursuing your original plans? Is this somehow, the question, ma'am, is this some sort of, did you revisit also your vision, and did you shift to a different business strategy so that you will still continue the traditional opening up of stores, but very calculated in the sense that you now integrate it through the omnichannel approach?
well, our business model remained the same. So we still live up to our value proposition of being a one-stop shop destination that offers quality products. We have the widest selection in terms of product scope. We have the widest selection. We have the widest category, and we want to be in every Filipino. I mean, in every because we want. Our mission and vision is to help every Filipino build, improve, and renovate their homes in a comfortable, sustainable way. So we want to be in every city, in every locality. So our strategy is still, we want to expand geographically. We want to reach to every Filipino. So, but our business, as I mentioned, the business model remained the same. But you are correct. It's more calculated in the sense that we revisited in terms of the size, because in Metro Manila, our average size would be around 10,000 square meters, no? But now, as we are expanding outside Metro Manila, we are going to, although some primary cities and some, secondary cities, and some wherein we have 2 stores in one area, because these are, growth areas that we feel that we have to have that presence. So we are, we resize, no? We try to resize the store into a medium feet store, no? Instead of having, let's say, 10,000 square meters, we reduce it into something like 7,000 square meters, no? That will fit the market and even the merchandise that we offer. So we still continue with our aggressive expansion plan in the next 5 years, complementing with the omni-channel strategy, I would say, because we still believe that, people have to have that sense of feel and touch of every product available at Wilcon. Although, as I've mentioned, digital transformation is really the way to go now. So we will be complementing our brick and mortar store with our omni-channel or our e-commerce platform, wherein the store would be a last mile delivery or the fulfillment center.
Wow, that's very mind-blowing. Now, another question, ma'am, is, although you mentioned this earlier in your in this discussion, ang daming nagbago na behavior ng customers during the pandemic. And I like it when you said, because I myself, as a father, I experienced that. Everything is now done and at home. And in your case, Miss Rose, because sabi nila, especially the other CEOs that I have interviewed here in Open for Business, kailangan ang mga businesses mailapit nila ang kanilang mga produkto doon sa tahanan ng mga tao kung kailan nasa pandemya sila. In your case, una, what is it, what changes in customer behavior have you noticed that is now very consistent, that is now what we call normal? And second question is, paano nyo na ilalapit yung your brand as a company, not only your products but the brand of your company to the customers right in their homes?
Okay, so as you've mentioned, the market now is what we call the pandemic-driven market or the pandemic-driven consumer market, I would say, no? So there's really a shift in the consumer behavior. As I mentioned, we'll still continue with our expansion, but what we are seeing here is that the e-commerce, the other platforms wherein we are very much, present, just like I've mentioned about Viber community, I've mentioned about Facebook Messenger, wherein we provide virtual tour to our customers. Because let's face it, there's really a shift in the consumer behavior. Some people are afraid to go out, aside from, the acceleration of e-commerce for some other sectors. And then there's also the shift to digital wallet payments. So that's what we offer now, because we want to provide that seamless, frictionless, and contactless experience to our customers, no? And then, of course, you mentioned about the rise in patronage of community stores, no? So you know that Wilcon, we have 65 stores, so we're present in every major community. So how do we connect with them? So we create Viber communities. We all know that people, that have limited movements, no? Like the seniors. So we provide this Viber community wherein we can engage them, interact with them. And then, as I've mentioned, the browse, call, and collect also. So that's one way of reaching out to our customers, no? That, at any time that you want to connect with Wilcon, we are available in all this platform, whether physically, whether in space through the digital or the e-commerce platform, or whether in the, omnichannel or in the social media platforms that is available.
Now, Miss Rose, before, you are a good brand and you have a better marketing edge if you are in the mall. But during the pandemic, there were some gainers, especially those businesses, SMEs, who were not in the malls. Those who is there was an advantage to them because, and especially during the lockdown, and it is where they were able to connect to those communities. In your insight, Ms. Rose, do you think that there is going to be a shift also of people going to the malls or stores and going outside of it? Because we've seen also the influx of a lot of logistics partners, delivery platforms, and we see a collaboration of the brand and various logistical activities, that somehow bring out a hybrid of products or services. Kailangan, in your case po ba, because you've mentioned about omni-channel approach and still doing the traditional, is it now safe to go back to malls? And what do you think is the future of malls? Is it going to be, will there be a shift also on how malls will be designed? Will they be redesigned? I see now, when you go to the internet, there's new design for customer experience that gives social distancing and all that. So that, going back to the question, are people going back to malls and stores, and why should they still go to it?
We all know that during the early months of the pandemic, people are really afraid to go out, not just because they're restricted, but because they're afraid, they're very much concerned about their safety, their health, because it's a health emergency and their safety and their health is at stake here. But compared to the early months, people are now visiting the malls more frequently than last year, I would say. If you've been out, you would see slowly people are visiting the malls now. However, there's still some that are afraid to go out because from time to time there would be, sporadic restrictions. There'll be sporadic, ECQs or GCQs, whatever you call them, and that children and senior citizens are still prohibited to go out. So it is important, of course, to ensure the public confidence and the trust of people that it's safe. You have to make people feel safe to go out and shop in stores again. So I guess for them to go back, we just have to improve the country's public health capacity in terms of, let's say, mass testing, contact tracing. And I think we are slowly, learning from it, And of course, you just have to follow the minimum protocol of wearing face masks, wearing face shield, social distancing. And, if you go to Wilcon, you would even see that we provide partitions. We provide markers, if there's a in-person or face-to-face transaction or engagement. So we just have to make our customers, make our people feel that they are, safe, that it's safe to go out, that it's safe to go to the mall, it's safe to go to Wilcon. So we just have to disseminate the proper information campaign about the impact or about the effect of this COVID-19, and that we should also communicate that the vaccine is already coming and convince more Filipinos to get inoculated so that we can protect ourselves, we can protect the community, we can protect our nation from the virus, and of course lower down the cases and eventually fully reopen our economy. And I believe that when the economy is fully reopened, when it's already 100%, I would say, or 99% safe for us to go out, and that it's safe for every Filipino to go out, for as long as we protect ourselves, I believe that, in retail, slowly, things will go back to where it was. But, it's really a call for all of us retailers, because the market really has changed. It has shifted. It has transformed. So we just have to be sensitive to what the market wants, no? So I guess when we reopen, when things are, back to its normal state, we just have to provide that, experience that the customer is looking for. The experience of feeling safe, the experience of, navigating the stores, that it would be seamless and easy for them, like what I've mentioned. We can marry, we can combine or do a blended approach of having to have the physical store being complemented by our website or our e-commerce platform, providing that, path to purchase wherein it's very easy for our customers, especially in making decisions, no? Because what I'm seeing here now is, unlike before, people, they go to the mall for pleasure, for leisure, I would say. Now, when you go out, when you go to the mall, you really go on purpose. You have a purpose of going out. So it's really more targeted. So I guess that would be the next new normal for all of us. So if it's going to be targeted and people, have adapted to this kind of setup, to this kind of behavior, it's really a call for us retailer to continue to provide that experience that we need to provide our customers, because they are really expecting the new normal or the new way of serving our customers.
Wow, my mind is blown, with all these ideas, Miss Rose. As if I would like really to go to your store after this interview. But my next question, Miss Rose, is this. During the pandemic, a lot of workers, especially in the retail sector, lost their jobs. And a lot of companies also reduced their staff. So in your case, Ms. Rose, being one of the most powerful women in this industry, also because of your leadership as the Philippine Retail Association, how can you describe these challenges, and what is your take on workers losing their jobs and companies reducing their staff, and what do you think should be the best practices so far to address this situation? Hopefully, as you mentioned, if everything goes back to normal and that we are able to provide this new customer experience, would there be opportunities for workers to go back to their jobs and companies to rehiring their staff?
I always believe that there's always opportunity for everyone for as long as you try to find ways. I guess during crisis, people become more innovative, people become more creative. I've mentioned about everything is centered in the community. Before, when you go out for shopping, you would go to the next city, not within your city. A few of us would patronize, the local sari-sari store or the local convenience store within, but now what we're seeing, the trend that we're seeing is that people tend to be more focused on, going to nearby community. That's why we see a surge in, demand for community-based marketplaces. And I would say you've heard about Cloud Kitchen. Everybody became, entrepreneurial. Everybody is selling food to everybody. So probably those that lost their job, let's say a lot of them, let's say working in dining restaurants wherein they were challenged during this pandemic, less people are going out to dine. So the emergence of food delivery from these restaurants have registered a spike in sales. In fact, if you ask DTI, there's an increase in in registration of new businesses, small businesses that are into food delivery and all this. So people will always find creative ways. No, there will always be opportunity. We see that there's a rise in e-commerce, not only for big companies, but basically for medium-sized companies. And with the rise of e-commerce, we will be needing, different skills skills that are probably not as popular as pre-COVID, but you would see people who are, creative, let's say graphic artists. There will be a demand for, digital skills or digital job. There will be a demand for those who are very familiar with, let's say, doing selling online and all this. So there will always be a job opportunity for everyone, because like in the physical store, you have merchandisers, right? For you to arrange your merchandise, for you to present that, that the merchandise physically. But now in the e-commerce, you need artists, you need graphic artists to organize, to make your site more appealing, for you to be able to sell it, to entice people to buy from your site, no? So you will see a demand for some other jobs or some other skills that probably during pre-COVID is not as popular. I would say in retail, promodizers or promoters are really very in demand pre-COVID. But now, because of the limitations in physical stores or the limitations in, let's say, we talk about resilient and non-resilient sectors, no? So it shifted now to let's say the digital platform. So there are some skills that are needed in the digital platform that eventually provide jobs, I would say.
Now, I wish I have more time, to talk more about your insights and really imbibe all these practices. But Ms. Rose, if you can also share your message to two sectors. The first one would be for the retailers. What is it that they needed to do to survive, and what in your message, what is it that they should really focus on? Because as you mentioned, customers now, especially because of the pandemic, they have this and they're looking for this new sense of purpose, in going to the stores. And your second message that I would request is, how should retailers also and customers respond to the efforts of retailers in the provision of of health and safety protocols that will, as you mentioned again, build consumer confidence. And as you said, because of this consumer confidence, and everybody would have a bigger demand and bigger consumption, the economy will keep going. Your message, yes.
Yes. Well, we know that the pandemic has tested us, no, all of us, whether in retail or any industry, no. So it tested our ability to survive in the long term, or I would say in the long run, amidst all these challenges. So as retailers, we are driven by ways to cope and adapt with all these changes happening with the consumer, behavior, the changes in the consumer behavior, and the changes in the, in the retail environment, in the retail landscape. So to be a retail winner in this era, we must strategize and adapt to the changes. Like what I've said, demand has been disrupted, supply has been disrupted, and we just have to adapt to all these economic conditions, no? So I would say those retailers with strong e-commerce and digital footprint will be able to have the advantage. If you're not online, then you are losing a lot. So for brick and mortar stores, I would say the omnichannel strategy still works, especially when providing a seamless shopping experience for both your online and brick and mortar stores. So we have to find ways, explore options on how to be more creative so that we can provide that safe shopping experience to our customers. For example, people now are very much conscious about, the spread of the virus, their health. So outdoor retailing or outdoor dining and services, I guess it's a must, and you will be a winner here. And then, because of people are afraid to be in contact, people are afraid to have the transmission. So let's promote contactless services. So contactless payments, the central bank is promoting that, no? So we have this e-payment wallets, we have the different, e-payment options that we can provide, and of course, always make the customer feel safe. Feel safe in visiting your stores, provide sanitizers, and then follow the minimum protocol. Make sure that all your people, your employees, follow strictly the protocol for them to be safe, and then for them to be able to make everyone safe as well, especially those customers visiting your stores. So I guess we can all, thrive and survive in this crisis. We just have to, organize our thoughts, put our acts together. No one is prepared for this. It's not really being prepared just now, but it's a preparation. It's a sum of, being prepared of all the efforts that you did in the past, I would say.
My last question, Ms. Rose, I'll go to a more personal level. Ms. Rose, as one of the most powerful women in the retail industry, what is your learning during the pandemic? What is that life-changing learning or realization? Because they said, the pandemic has really taught us to reflect and see what's important in life. To you, Ms. Rose, again, as one of the leaders that drive the direction of the retail industry here in the Philippines, what has been that learning during the pandemic?
Okay, we're just part of one ecosystem. So it's imperative for all of us to support, care, and help each other, especially in this time of crisis. So whether in what industry you belong to, whether retail or any industry, helping each other and supporting each other, I guess, is really very important now, so that we can survive and thrive in this crisis. And together, let us heal as one.
Wow, that's the best way to end this conversation with Ms. Rosemary Ong of the Wilcon Depot. Open for Business will be back Stay with us.
Factual,
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
timely information, balanced, not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Agila Pilipinas! A one-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Agila Probinsya.
Sa mga taga-Iloilo at Antique, mapiyang
Tune into Mata ng Agila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Agila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International
On
delivers the
tonight's
latest
headlines.
global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to explain our health
outdoor
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Open for Business is back, and our term of the week is from Investopedia.com. Our term is Manufacturer's Suggested Retail Price, or MSRP. The manufacturer's suggested retail price is the price that a product's manufacturer recommends it to be sold for at point of sale. The MSRP is also referred to as the list price by some retailers. Every retail product can have an MSRP, though they are frequently used with cars. Other higher priced goods, such as appliances and electronics, also have an MSRP as well. The MSRP was designed to keep prices at the same level from store to store, but retailers may not use this price and consumers may not always pay the MSRP when they make purchases. Items may be sold for a lower price so a company can reasonably move inventory off shelves, especially in a sluggish economy. And our word of the week is from Simon Sinek. He said, "People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it." Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episode of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, industry experts, and SMEs promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed and open for business, and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. You're on Facebook Live on Eagle News and at Net25 TV, and you can watch us again in the video section of the Eagle News and Net25 Facebook pages and on eaglenewslive.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Net25 TV. Thank you again for watching for Open for Business. This is Cesar Vallejos. We live in interesting times.
It is now time to build confidence. Obviously, we reached a stage wherein the situation has affected all aspects of life.